a good bit of rain overnight, both before midnight and after midnight. I think we're at the 1.4 inches in the last 48 hours, and the last 2 overnight periods. So it may not look like it through the window, but it's raining pretty good out there right now. I'm just going to sneak out and put the food up on the platform and let the kitties eat, and then I'll come back out and check on the water and everything else a little later when this round of rain lets up. Wow. A good bit more rain here. Yeah, I just ran out and ran back in really quick. I made sure the blue fountain had enough water so I could turn the fountains on, and I guess it doesn't really matter since I'm not out there enjoying them, but yeah, it's coming down. So Ring gives you an RSSI number about your signal, Wi-Fi signal strength, and of course it's raining today and there's low light and stuff, but and I didn't write down what it was before Dawn installed the new one. I wish it would just tell you excellent, good, okay, and you need to do something about it, I don't know. Anyway, the lower the number, like a number in the 30s would be excellent, and the number in the 80s is like not good at all. So I think ours were all in the 50s this morning, something like that. Anyway, there's not a lot of activity anywhere in the rain, I guess. I did see our owl on the tree limb. You can't see it from here. So the owl is one of the owls is outside the box, by the box. Don wanted to come back today and just put some clips on the cable underneath the front porch, which he probably will still do. He just, everything takes longer than we all think it will take, and it was getting really late last night. We didn't eat dinner till like 8:30 or something, so he saved that for today because it wasn't hurting it. I mean, long term, it needs to be clipped up, but overnight, it wasn't going to matter. Kind of peaceful. Good morning, Gray. I've got chicken. I know you like the chicken better than you like that canned food I gave you last night. There you go. There you go. It's a good girl. Good morning. We've got rain out there right now. It's not good for walking, so Mama will be in to do the video today sooner than later and sit with you, okay? Okay. That's a good girl. Congratulations are in order. And we'll be back to tell you in just a few minutes what the congratulations is about.
I'm getting something special.
But you're getting a chocolate coffee with a little...
I know that. I'd have done this a long time ago if it's going to get me coffee with chocolate chips and whipped cream on top.
Exactly. It's chocolate coffee, too.
Oh, and it's chocolate coffee?
Yes.
Wow, I must have done something really she liked.
I think so. So, first of all, happy May the 4th. May the Force be with you. Don is...
your Star Wars stuff on, don't you? My girl's got hers on.
Yeah, Don's rocking his Darth Vader Dark Side shirt. Although I got it for him, but it's probably appropriate. You're standing in front of the Stormtrooper Model Y, basically, so yeah. But we have some exciting news to share with you guys today. First Tesla came out and said existing Model Y people were going to get $2,000 toward a new Model Y. Then they came out and I don't know exactly the order, but they said you're going to get FSD transfer. Yeah. And you can see where I'm going with this, right? And then they came out and they said 1.99 APR, which is really close to the current loan rate we have on Jules. Yeah. So we wouldn't be out on that. Yeah. We don't have free supercharging or free premium connectivity, so that's not applicable in this case.
That's right.
And so guess what we did?
We ordered a new Model Y.
That's right. So tell them the details.
Yep. Well, we got the dual all-wheel drive. Excuse me. Let me use the correct lingo.
Yeah, they don't call it dual motor anymore. Yeah. It's all-wheel drive. Yeah.
All-wheel drive, and we got with the quote black and white interior versus just the white interior.
The seats are white.
The seats are white, and we got it in Quicksilver. The color choices, look, I love Tesla, but this handful of colors and then charging a significant amount of money for each color, it's a little painful. But
yeah, the Quicksilver was currently a $2,000 price premium.
Right, and you know, for $2,000, you know, maybe a custom paint job, you know, with fine details and all this kind of stuff. But hey, it is what it is. So anyway, this is going to happen very quickly. We're trading in Jules. We got a preliminary estimate, and of course, subject to change, and we're okay with that. And the $7,500 tax credit is still around, and that's another thing that's going to go away probably in the not too distant future. So there were several things: the incentive, the financing.
We do have some referral credits.
We got a couple referral, right?
Yeah.
And so all of that, and they expire; they don't last forever. So all of that played into the decision to go on and do it, because really what we were doing was hoping for a new Model X. That's what I was hoping for. I love Jules. Jules is just fine, but you know, Ruby is literally 1 month away from 8 years old, and so very much would like to get Marianne a new Model X. You know, with all the upgrades and stuff. And they did say,
Lars did that they are going to refresh the X and the S, but not in the near time frame. Not probably it would be next year. It would be out, not this year.
Right. And so, knock on wood, this all that means now is that not only are we going to get a new Model Y, we'll probably get a new Model X when they come out with it whenever that is, the next year or so. So we'll be back to two cars.
Right. Well, let's face it. The new Model Y has the front bumper camera. The current Model X doesn't. Then the new Model Y has ambient lighting. I think the current new X does, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, they kind of upgraded the interior.
There's the walk up to the trunk thing where you don't have to integrate with Siri to get it to work. Right. I'm waiting for Grok, which maybe that'll be a software update, or maybe that'll require some stuff in the car. I'm not sure. But the no bumper camera on the X is definitely a no. And I think there's ambient lighting, but it's not as good as the Y. Right, I mean, I need
not enough incentive.
I need everything they added to the Juniper Y in the Model X, then we can talk turkey. Plus, I need Grok and maybe a couple other things. Right. But that would be a step. The front bumper camera for me is super important.
I mean, I love the Cybertruck, but Marianne really wanted to get a Cybertruck.
Yeah, I did. I've worked on him.
She worked on me, but I just don't need. I don't.
Well,
I don't like driving great big things.
Well, it's a great big thing, but let's face it.
Paid for a great big thing.
Right. It's paid for. Don's always loved that truck. It runs great. We put in some repair money last year before we gave serious consideration to the Cybertruck wasn't out yet.
$1,200.
Yeah. So anyway. Don did never say never on the Cybertruck. Right. Things could change. The GMC could have some major failure. Yeah, sure. We could get a good used deal maybe on a Cybertruck. There's things that could happen. So it's not a no, never. But trust me, I'm happy about the new Y. I'm a little sad about not getting to drive down the road in the Cybertruck.
Right. Well, you'll just have to.
But I don't want the Cybertruck quite enough to get rid of and not have an X to have a Cybertruck.
Right.
I really want it, but not enough to not have the X. Right. So I'm thinking it was good that I hauled home all my dirt in Jules this week. So that way I don't have to take Ruby, because Jules has that nice mat in the back that's back there all the time. Don, we have a non-custom mat that we put in the back of Ruby when we need it, but it's not in the car all the time, and it doesn't because it doesn't fit perfect. It was a generic rear hatchback cargo mat. Yeah. So a couple other details. Oh, you started to tell them it's going to happen quick. You started to say about that.
Currently, look, it probably won't happen, but currently delivery is scheduled for noon on Friday, which is like 5 days away. So that's the current delivery date appointment. Actually, I already made the appointment, but to do that, we got to work out the financing and all these other things. But we've made the deposit and all that kind of stuff. So we're going. It's going to happen not in 2 weeks, but very quickly.
Right. Well, a little more detail there is our friend David helped us.
Right.
If you need help with a Tesla, we can get you in touch with David. He's great.
Yeah.
There's one in inventory.
That's right.
So Don got the Quicksilver, but he also got the Helix 2.0 wheels.
Right.
No tow package. Don doesn't care. We got the GMC or Ruby for towing. It wasn't going to buy us anything.
Not for $1,000.
Yeah. So, because we've never towed anything on Jules, not even the bike rack one time, and we could have, right? So, so anyway, so we're getting a car that's in inventory. Where that's, it's much different than the original experience with Ruby back in 2017, where we waited for Fremont for 4 months to build our car, and then we watched it come across the country, and then we had to wait to schedule the date and all of that stuff. Right. So this will happen pretty quick. Well, Don's working the process, and it's been easy, but there's been some process to work. So tell them about why Jules is pulled out of the garage.
Right, I'm taking pictures of Jules. They want pictures. So the purchase process, I would have to say, if you do not currently own a Tesla, and your brother-in-law has a Tesla, and you're going to use their referral code, and you're going to go buy a Tesla, it is like click, clack, clunk. But I know Tesla, and they're not trying to trip me up on these incentives, but you got to get the referral code, and then you got to go in the app. The order in which you do things makes your process smoother. So David, and he gave me accurate information. He said, do this first, then do this, and it'll just magically appear. And he is exactly what it is.
Yeah, you have to get the referral for your friend or family member in there at the very, very beginning.
Right.
So
that's the start. Get the referral code.
And trust me, if you don't know what a referral code is or have someone that has one, well, yeah, you could use ours because it's now good for... you can use it basically to do anything at Tesla. You can have service. You can do the Tesla shop. You can buy a car. You can get supercharger miles. I'm sure it's good for Tesla energy purchases too. So, but anyway, you need that. Don't buy a Tesla without a referral code. And if you need help figuring out one, ours, or we'll help you find a deserving person's code. And do that, you need to have that first. You need to start.
It's the best to start with that because the whole process builds on that.
Yeah. And then they wanted, Don's at the picture process, but Don and I agreed we were going to put on that there were no aftermarket items on the car. Right. And so that means Don's got to remove stuff, the mud flaps and the American flag and our floor mats and the tilt console and
all these things
lights in the front and
all that stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don's such a good guy because he did that for you, for me and you guys we've enjoyed the stuff, but content,
referral codes.
Right. Content for the channel. And we did enjoy the items. Some of them may work on the new Y. Some of them won't work on the new Y. I hear the driver's side mat is unlikely to work, but possibly the other mats will be good enough.
But I'm thinking my Father's Day present, or is it? What I think that's what it is. Yeah, it's going to take care of that because it's a special cutting tool. It cuts nice and smooth.
Okay, well you'll have to help me out with what that tool is, but we can make that that happen. So, So what else have we left out?
It's happening quick. The color,
the incentives really pushed us.
The incentives really, and the loan. The last piece of the puzzle was the loan. The low interest rate.
Right, we're choosing to let our money continue to work in our investments. Right. When you can get 1.99 or 0 or whatever, there's no push to put down or pay more, pay cash. It just.
Of course, the final thing, but the actual monthly payment's going to go down slightly.
Yeah, several $100 less a month to drive the new Y.
But the problem is, whereas this one would be paid off in another 14 months, I now get to go for another 72 months. But the actual monthly payment is actually going to be less.
Yeah, well, you got to think about what works for you, but I know a lot of people wish they had left their money in Tesla instead of using it to buy a car or something back 5 years ago, and we don't want to make that mistake again. So, yeah.
And
or make that mistake now. I don't mean us
again.
again.
The tax credit is, look, I don't know what all they're going to be able to do or not do with this big, beautiful bill or whatever this is. But the one thing I would tell you that this year, this tax credit thing is going to go away.
There's a good chance.
I mean, it's probably the most of all the things that's going to go away. That is the most likely to go away with the, what was that? The IRA. The IRA did a lot of things, but the IRA for the electric car incentive is probably the most likely to go away.
Yeah. So it would be fair to say that Don's taken on the contract this year as a factor, not because of the payments, but because of the tax burden and the $7,500.
It'll help.
It'll help.
Yeah.
So so that was another factor also.
I mean,
so, and we'll get to make hardware 4 videos for you guys, and I won't be crying. I won't be crying about us missing out on updates, and you know, I probably can come around to trading Ruby, but like I said, it's really it's all these incentives plus transfer my supercharging.
That's right.
Really, it's going to take all the new stuff, all the current incentives, and keep my free supercharging, and then we can talk turkey.
Right.
Maybe in 2026 or something.
Or possibly something, at least some type of supercharging credit, referral credit for you can cash in for supercharger miles that don't expire. Because, you know, if you had 5,000, we gave away, I don't mean to say gave away.
We lost some supercharging miles.
20,000 supercharger miles. And, you know, that's okay. We did. That was the deal, a year. But
we knew. It was fair. It just was what it was.
But if you had 20,000 supercharger miles that didn't expire, then that would probably be enough supercharger miles for most of the life of your car.
Yeah. So, well, it's exciting.
Yes.
I'll just have to decide if I'm driving with Don in Jules or if I'm driving Ruby behind him so I can film him coming down the interstate on the way home.
That's one of the things I have to take out is our dash cam.
As our dash cam.
My custom installed dash cam.
Well, I'll, having you stick that up there and being ready to go to film you at the driver's, film you possibly on the way home is important. So,
right. And I got to remove the flash drive. And by the way, the Y cable that allows me to split the.
Don has a list, and it's longer than you. It's over 10 items.
It's closer to 20 items.
Yeah, I did a gulp and said, "Thank you, Lord, that Don's responsible for those things."
Since she gave me all that hopped up caffeine with chocolate and sugar in it, all that, I had a real buzz. Man, my brain was firing and everything.
Well, let me go back in the house then and leave you to use your energy to get as much of those to do, because you'll be working during the week and it could be harder to get out here.
Especially if we're going to make Friday. I mean, there's a couple things like, although now it is drying. I didn't think I would mess with the mud flaps today, but because it was, when I first pulled the car out, it was really wet.
Don's glad he bought those Tesla clips, a bag of clips off.
I bought the official Tesla clip.
So he can, if clips,
clip removal tool.
So it should go better.
Should go better. And what I'm trying to say is, I don't know if we can use them on a new Y, but hey, we have plenty of people who have Ys, and we'll.
Stuff that we have that we can't use, we're likely to give to somebody in the local Tesla club.
The only reason I'm taking them off is because I believe they actually demerit you, because they're going to take them off, and that's labor.
Yeah.
So, anything that's not part of the car, original car, they actually demerit you. They don't credit you anything.
Yeah. All right. Well. Congratulations, Donnie!
Thank you, sweetheart. Okay.
Well, we're having togetherness here in the car. Yep. Don needed somebody to hold the screen.
Yeah, the screen, when you take it out, it like falls and off the bracket, and then the problem was getting unplugging the cable, the data and signal cable from the back of the screen. That was the problem. I needed Marianne to hold the display while I unplugged the cable, and that made all the difference in the world. She was a super duper good helper. And then the other thing is these 10mm bolts I just tightened up. The other bracket was a little thinner, so it compressed the stamped steel bracket, so the pins on the support on the back of the display, the metal support, wouldn't go in the hole. So it just took a little
finesse,
just a little finesse with a pair of alignment pliers to ease that gap up, and then it just went right in there. And other than when Marianne, we got it cable put in, and before I tightened those bolts down, I told Marianne, well, let's hit brake and let's get the screen lit up. So she put her foot on the brake, and no light, and she said, of course all the doors open. She said, I think you have to close the doors. And I said, okay. So we closed the door, and poof, the screen lit up. So warning, when you're doing this, make sure you, before you call it broke, make sure you close the doors.
right after you've powered down the car to power it back up, foot on the brake, but I think the door's closed. Well, and also it takes a few seconds, so just don't give up.
Don't get all antsy like I was doing. Oh my God, I was just fixing to have a heart attack right here on the spot.
Yeah, I'm gonna make Don let me put up a list that he made of all the things he had to do to get Jules unmodded for going back to Tesla, and I've had to flutter my little eyelashes at him that he will be willing to remod some of the things back on the new Y. Like the front lights, and he's gonna have to power the dash cam, with a clean wire. There's no way Don's gonna have for any amount of time a wire dangling in his car. So
that's correct. Yeah. All right, that's the temperature sensor is back. We are done. The display is back to the
it doesn't
original.
swivel anymore. No swivel.
And I can tell it's just like an inch closer.
Yeah.
You get used to the...
Right. There was always a little less room, like down below or wherever that thing was, but the swivel was nice.
And I need to put on the list, pull off the carbon fiber.
That scares me, but okay.
You remember probably a couple months ago I put these mud flaps on. Marianne got me these for Christmas last year, 2024. You look at this and you can tell that there's a Phillips head, but honestly, I think I explained before that that's really not threads. They're just serrated. So when you put them in there, they spread the thing apart, and they basically, the teeth engage, their serrations engage, and so you're not going to get them out with a screwdriver. You can turn and they're not going to come out, they're not going to thread out. So basically I have this is the last one. I've done 3, so this is the last one. And this tool right here, not the chisel, well the chisel too, but this tool right here, it's got a really thin lip. These little prongs are really thin. Try to see, I mean, they're really sharp, and they can actually get underneath that thing, and then it'll actually pry it up. But what it actually does is the plastic, the head gives way and just snaps off. You could do this same thing with the chisel. If you, oh God, I just never get the light right. Anyway, you could do the same thing with the chisel. If you take the chisel and put right here and just hit it, it'll cut it right off. The little plastic thing's just falling inside. I guess it'll rattle around, but there's enough dirt and stuff inside of these shields. The little bit of black plastic ain't gonna matter nothing. So anyway, the Tesla clips that I got, these are official Tesla clips. Man, they work like, I mean, they just go in there and like a dream. Have no idea if my fancy tools that I bought will get them out. I'm not going to find out. But these clips go in like a dream, I can tell you.
So our owl has been up there for hours, and you know, we try to just sort of go about our business, but I think he's used to us, so that's good. I was going to show you the Palumbo here. I believe that's what this is blooming. It's come back nicely. I would be surprised if it doesn't have a few more spikes, but we'll see. This guy is finishing up, unfortunately, and I still haven't got out here to record hummingbirds. Oh no. Well, this is the first that it's not really raining. I mean, it's only stopped in the last 30 minutes. So obviously the chicken's decided that he's hungry. I'm probably just going to take him something. It'll stress me if I hear him down here and run him off and all that other stuff. So, yeah. So I am currently printing a Chinese lantern that's on a stake. I got some marble looking filament. It's white with some black, barely black flecks in it. Looks like rock, granite. So I'm printing a Chinese lantern thing to stick in a pot for the front side of the house where I have the Chinese lantern stuff. This guy is not pumping, and I don't think it's because it's low. I think it's because he's blocked. It was fine a while ago. It really was. Let me take a look at it. I just finished editing yesterday's video with Gray. She was very pleased, loving on me. Sometimes she climbs up on my head, but headbutts me from behind. But usually she falls asleep right like on top of my right arm, so I get to, you know, maneuver the keyboard with her head, putting weight on my arm. She's very sweet. She's very sweet, almost always. Don's out in the driveway still working on taking the stuff off Jules. I guess, you know, you just don't even realize all the mods you make until you need to unmake them. I'm going to work on the Kingfisher. I'd really like to finish it up, but Brick Artisan, the guy that did the mock for the French cafe, it's not modular, I guess, and he's currently working on even more piece 32 by 32 base plate modular. So maybe it's a good thing I didn't have one of these when I wanted to start. I imagine the instructions will be out there in a day or two, and then I'll have to decide if I want to do the one I thought I wanted to do or if I'm going to do the updated instructions one. Probably the one with more pieces. So bag 4 is working on one of the wings, and I had to switch to the on-screen instructions because the contrast on where the pieces come together for the navy blue pieces just was not good for my eyes in the paper instructions. Wow, that is one impressive wingspan. While it does, you know, rattle just a little bit, vibrate if you move it, it is on there pretty sturdy. And you can see the cattails and the alternate lighter blue color on the back. It's pretty cool, and yes, he has a fish in his mouth, and yes, it's kind of got silver tones to it so that it holds up well. But yeah, pretty neat. Pretty neat. It's all done. Hi, nighttime. Did you come to help because I'm talking? Thought so. Our root beer wasn't cold tonight after dinner, our Zevia drink. and the refrigerator's at like 56 degrees, and that's not good. And some of you will remember that we had prior refrigerator problems.
Yeah.
And it's 11 o'clock at night, so it's really fun.
Yeah, the freezer's at 0. The freezer is working. And look on the stove. What's the thing say?
I'm looking.
The bottom number.
36.5.
Right. So the vegetable part.
That's
this thing,
down
that green
here.
part
Yeah.
is working.
Yeah.
It's just the upper part, and I don't hear the evaporator fan running. So I think the evaporator fan has gone bad.